From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
It's so wonderful to see you again, viewers. So wonderful to see you again. Now, the Supreme Court is going to sit down and decide whether in India you can have same-sex marriage. Big move. But there is one problem. And let me start tonight by hitting the ball straight out of the park with my straight question. The straightest question, the only relevant question, the only important question by far on the issue of same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage, meaning marrying without the usual gender-specific requirements legally, changes the law in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, I am for complete equality. For I am a believer in equality, for I am a believer in the Constitution of the country. I am a believer in Article 14, equality before the law, which allows same-sex marriage. So I also believe in Article 15, prohibition of discrimination on religion, caste, gender, which I presume includes sexual orientation. And I'm a believer in Article 21, protection of life and personal liberty. But my question is different. And my question is this. Can you have same-sex marriage without a uniform civil code? Now, don't be surprised. For personal laws, Muslim personal laws, or the personal laws of any religion will not allow same-sex marriage. So will all the enthusiastic proponents of same-sex marriage also support a uniform civil code or not? Especially those who love calling themselves most oxymoronically as left liberals. If the left libs are anti-uniform civil code, then how can they be pro same-sex marriage? In fact, logically speaking, to have legal sanctity to same-sex marriage, you first have to necessarily bring in and approve a uniform civil code. And this is what I call the hashtag woke paradox. The wokes are in a paradoxical situation. The wokes are hypocrites. The wokes hate the uniform civil code. They say, oh, uniform civil code is the most communal thing thought of in this country. But they are for same-sex marriage. The wokes say they are for free speech. They say, like Rahul Baba, there is no free speech in this country. But like Rahul Baba, they lost their voice when last week the Boring Broadcasting Corporation effectively said there would be no free speech for anyone criticizing Her Majesty's government in the United Kingdom. The wokes are hypocrites, ladies and gentlemen. In the present context, my argument is this, that if homosexual couples are to legally marry, a subject that will now be considered by a 5-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court of India, then I suggest we get realistic by first legally evaluating whether any such proposal on same-sex marriage is possible at all without the one thing that the Republic Media Network has been campaigning for relentlessly in this country for over years, which is a uniform civil code. UCC. So I say same-sex marriage, great idea. But I also say UCC first. And every other progressive legislation will become simpler after that. Let's simplify the process. Let's be real. Let's not compartmentalize logic or the law. Let us not be hypocrites like the left-lib wokes, ladies and gentlemen. And that is debate number 1 today. Supreme Court is going to be hearing the case on same-sex marriage. Yes or no? Tell me what do you think. Big sharp debate at 10 o'clock tonight. Art for kickbacks, the Priyanka Vadra factor, Rana Kapoor, how art, so-called art, and a lot of money brought Priyanka Vadra and Rana Kapoor closer together. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the headlines this Monday evening on The Debate Tonight.
Hi. You guys ready? Ooh. RRR.
The India storm at the Oscars. Natu Natu wins the Best Original Song.
And the Oscar goes to The Elephant Whisperers, Kartiki Gonzalez and Gunit Monga.
And The Elephant Whisperers wins the Best Documentary, a first for India at the Academy Awards. Supreme Court will be hearing a petition on same-sex marriage in April. Biggest debate, 9 p.m. tonight.
पूरे सदन के द्वारा उनके इस व्यवहार को कंडम किया जाना चाहिए और उनको ये आपके द्वारा निर्देश दिया जाना चाहिए कि संसद के फोरम पर आकर वह क्षमा याचना करें अध्यक्ष महोदय।
Parliament objects to Rahul Gandhi's slander India's spree. Government demands an apology.
ये मिस्टर आर कौन है जिनके पैसा लेना और पेंटिंग देने का काम किया गया? क्या पेंटिंग के बदले पद्म भूषण? ये कांग्रेस का भ्रष्टाचार मॉडल है। आखिर ऐसे कितने और राष्ट्रीय सम्मान पद्म भूषण जैसे आपने बेचे हैं?
And global financial terror watchdog has flagged the Vadra Congress model of corruption, mentions scam-tainted Rana Kapoor's Artgate as a case study. And 2 American banks collapse in 3 days. It's the Lehman moment as woke banks that backed crypto have startups left in the lurch. And 4 years ago, the Supreme Court ensured that no individual is criminalized for their sexual orientation. It was a path-breaking landmark verdict, and now the Supreme Court is all set to hear another set of petitions. This time, the demand is to legalize same-sex marriage. Are we a society ready for it? Same-sex marriage. The centre is against it. It's declared its stand. What about all the other parties? Will they make their position clear too? And what is your take on this issue? Viewers, tonight I ask, hashtag same-sex marriage in India. Yes or no? Let's debate.
On September 7, 2018, a 5-judge constitutional bench of the Supreme Court invalidated part of Section 377.
Section 377 is dead. Millions of LGBTs in India are now free to declare their sexual orientation without the undercurrent of fear or the undercurrent of guilt. A battle won hard and with many scars, but the greatest of the scars being the humiliation, the insults, the abuse, the threats, the extortion, the dirty words used, and the description that homosexuals have gone through in India, that they are outcasts, outlaws, perverts, mentally retarded, and subhuman. These are the things they've been called.
Now, multiple petitions have been filed by non-heterosexual couples seeking legal sanctity for their marriages. In April, another 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court will determine if same-sex marriages are legal.
We're very glad that the matter has been referred to a constitutional bench. We believe that it's a matter of constitutional importance. It's a matter regarding fundamental rights. But I think everybody on the petitioner's side was extremely happy that the matter had been referred to a constitutional bench. However, we of course are very hopeful for a positive outcome from the court in this regard that will grant.
In a 56-page affidavit, the centre has opposed such marriages of LGBTQ couples.
Government is not interfering into the personal life, personal activities of anybody. So there should be no confusion or there should be no dilution on this matter. When it comes to an issue related to the institution of marriage, then it is a matter of policy. Personal freedom and personal activities of individuals, of the citizens, are never been questioned, disturbed or regulated by government.
But LGBTQ activists say now is the time for change.
We today have to see where we stand. Do we stand with ignominy and disgust, or do we stand with love and acceptance and the plural nature of our democracy and our constitution. The choice is ours.
Previously, the RSS chief stood by the LGBTQ community and said they too are a part of society. Is the country ready for legalizing of same-sex marriages? Let's debate.
I have a lot of familiar faces. I'm welcoming back Ashok Rao Kavi, one of India's best-known LGBTQ activists. Sohail Seth is with us tonight. Niharika Karanjawala Mishra, she's a principal associate at Karanjawala and Company, and she's a lawyer who's been associated with representing petitioners seeking recognition of same-sex marriage under the Special Marriages Act. And we have Abhishek Rai and Chaitanya Sharma. They describe themselves as the first gay couple to wed in Kolkata, and they are not legally wedded, lawfully wedded, but perhaps now looking forward to doing so if this goes through. And we have a few people who are aghast at this development. I don't know why. Pramila Nisargi is aghast. She's a lawyer. She's saying if this happens, everything in our country, our society, our culture falls apart. MR is against it. I presume Mohandas Pai has problems. Rahul Ishwar has problems with same-sex marriage. And you know the biggest problem, you know what the biggest problem, Sohail, is that people don't want to talk about it. They'll endlessly talk about whether Rahul Baba should apologize. But the biggest subject, what Rahul Baba says is irrelevant anymore. I kept it for debate 3. But this is the biggest subject. Nobody wants to talk about it. They're queasy, you know. They're queasy.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're talking about it.
I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it. And I want Niharika to first tell me, Niharika, you know, why? Let me ask you why. You know, but we have decriminalized, gay sex, but why marriage? What's the need, one would say? Playing the devil's advocate, you know? Why ruffle the feathers, as it were?
Thank you for asking me that. Thank you. And, this is something that I hear all the time. It's been decriminalized. You get to live your life privately. Yeah. Why are you making such a fuss? The fact is, Arnab, this is a question of equality. This is a question of fundamental rights. You don't just get to say, okay, you're not a criminal. Go quietly live your life. Don't have anything to do with your partner. These are things that go down to every aspect of your life. You don't get to make end of life decisions for your partner. Coming out of a pandemic, I think we can all relate to the emotional toll that something like that takes. You can't have a bank account with your partner. You can't bring them on board with your membership if you're a part of any club. This has everything to do with your daily life, your day-to-day life. So frankly, is it enough to tell someone, okay, you get to go live quietly in the shadows and we won't come and arrest you? No, it's not. Because you are still telling people, as you said in your previous commentary that was just played out on 377, they've been called subhuman. You are still telling people you are lower than and you are other than, and that is the problem. Yeah.
Are you really? The contrary argument would be, are we pushing things too fast too soon?
Can I come in?
Yeah, are we pushing things too fast too soon?
Could I talk?
For whom?
Or too much, too little?
I want to talk.
Yes, okay, you want to talk? Sure, go on.
Yeah, excuse me. Yes. You see, when arguments were going on about Section 377 5 years ago, that time the government had made it very clear that they are for decriminalizing Section 377 and it would not impede in the way of us being called common citizens of this country. But the government had said very clearly that it will not go towards same-sex marriage because there are a plethora of issues regarding same-sex marriage in this country. Which personal code will you go under? That time, it was the duty of the community and its leadership to sit together and find out how we would get past this obstruction. And one was, as you said, a common civil code. Secondly, a Special Marriages Act being made gender neutral. Once it is made gender neutral, you don't need to bother to go to Parliament or anywhere else. All you need to go is to be treated just like any other citizens, two citizens of this country who want to get married, who give 1 month's notice and get married after a month. So legally you are, free and you are recognized under law.
I say and I ask you here today,
Love has no law.
I ask you here today to make the debate more pertinent. 1 minute, Sohail. Just 1 minute, please don't disturb. Sohail, 1 minute. 1 minute, Sohail. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me put it this way. Mohan, here we are on the program, and I ask Ashok Rao Kavi, do you support a uniform civil code in India?
I do.
You support a uniform
only
civil.
through a uniform civil code.
Brilliant. Excellent. Okay. Abhishek and Chaitanya Sharma, Abhishek Rai and Chaitanya Sharma, who are are the first gay couple to wed in Kolkata. Do you support a uniform civil code, Abhishek and Chaitanya?
Definitely we do support, and we have a full faith on our law. We are talking about all the challenges and the law that we have currently, but we are in 21st century, and the question is when we will accept everything, right?
Agreed.
We are talking about our technology is progressing, our infrastructure is progressing. What about the mentality of the people?
Absolutely
what
fantastic.
About our
But you see,
so
let me.
If you are talking about,
let me play devil's advocate with you here, Chaitanya. You see, you can't force change, Chaitanya. Change is to be accepted. Sometimes it is gradual. It is not. Sometimes it is incremental. Sometimes it cannot be too sudden. For example, let me tell you, I think the LGBTQ community keeps talking about how wonderful things are in the United Kingdom. Now, in the United Kingdom, the Anglican Church does not allow same-sex marriage. The Anglican Church says that marriage is possible between one man and one woman, and one woman and one man.
They're a bunch of outdated, antiquated hypocrites.
No, that's fine. No,
as simple as that.
I'm just saying.
But why we are even comparing with any other?
And why should we? Arnab, why do I need to listen to the Pope or to the Church of England? Who the hell are they? Are they God?
There are laws that allow it.
Okay, 1 minute. Mohan's coming in. Mohan, okay, we're opening up with Mohan, Pramila, everyone. Yeah, Mohan.
Arnab,
Yeah.
let's be very clear. Every individual has a right to his or her sexual preferences. If people of the same gender want to live together and call themselves a wedded couple, it is fine. They have a right to it, and we can't question the right, and they must have the right openly. And if they get wedded together, then the law on divorce, the law on separation, the law on maintenance all comes into play. And that will be good for them because their rights will be defined by the law and not by contract that they may have. I have only one concern, Arnab, and it's a very big different concern. What happens if there is same gender or same-sex marriage and they want to adopt a child? But now, we have to be very careful about the rights of a child. I'm not very sure how a child will grow up in a family where both people are of the same gender.
Just a minute. Mohan, first of all, I'm going to improve your audio quality. I'm told you're on a Skype link and the audio is not very good, but I've asked our producers to sharpen your audio, otherwise I'll have poor audio throughout the debate. 1 minute. Sohail, 1 minute. Let me get the others in.
This is the first time Mohandas Pai has had a problem for a solution. The first time I've ever seen Mohandas Pai having a problem for a solution. I love him to death, but let me tell you, Arnab, laws first have a basic societal evolution, which you spoke about. Have societal acceptance. Have the level of empathy and understanding.
But Sohail,
the laws will follow.
Sohail, 1 minute.
If society behaves belligerently, what laws are you talking about?
Sohail, listen here. I agree with you. In this country, we debate and discuss everything. And we say, let there be consensus. Sometimes we delay things for decades, years, sometimes centuries, saying we are democratic, we need to discuss. Just playing devil's advocate out here, and I hope Ashok and Sohail are on the other side. My point is, on this issue, where is the societal discussion? Suppose the Supreme Court says tomorrow, MR, same-sex marriage is allowed in India. with the greatest of respect to the Supreme Court of the country, the people of the country will ask, the people of the country will ask, this is not an issue of a private contract or a small legal matter. This is about our society and our culture. Will the Supreme Court decide what our society and our culture should also be like?
One minute.
No, 1 minute, please. Sohail, 1 minute. 1 minute, you're opening the debate, Sohail. 1 minute.
That is not
1 minute.
No,
1 minute. Just, we're looking at everyone tonight. I'm coming to you, Abhishek, as well. MR's wanted to come in on the debate. Point being, can a law be brought in or a law changed without any discussion on a sensitive subject like this?
Arnab, we first need to have extraordinary amount of debate, and debate is still in an embryonic stage. Sohail Seth approving here or MR Venkatesh approving, disapproving it here doesn't make the debate at a national scale. It requires enormous amount of debate. First thing, biologically, marriage will be of opposite sexes. Now, you cannot say that marriage of the same sex is a marriage. It is. You may disagree, Sohail. You are entitled to this. Please have the courage to have the debate.
I'm only using hand movements. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I understand. I know. I'm only trying to say that marriage biologically has to be between two opposite sexes, and it has to lead to procreation. Third thing, I pride in saying in Tamil culture we say Orvanku Oruthi, meaning a man for a woman defines Tamil culture. Now you can't do away with it and say, no, you can shake your head till the cows come home, no problem. But the fact of the matter is that Tamil culture is all about Orvanku Oruthi, and we believe even in Lord Shiva, having an Ardhanarishwara form, which is the 64th manifestation of Shiva, is one of equality, but at the same time unifying through a composite unitary form. It's a very,
I hate to disappoint you.
One,
I don't have to subscribe to Tamil culture.
No, you don't have to.
I don't have to subscribe to Tamil culture.
But I say,
venerate Stalin.
We are not a 200-year-old banana republic. We are a civilizational state. We are a civilization state, and we have certain civilizational moorings. One of the civilizational moorings is tolerance. We accept people who are gay, who are lesbian. We fully accept that. But at the same time, we cannot impose it as a social norm. We cannot legalize it. We cannot say this will be the benchmark for the society and the government to approve it. Sorry, there are two different things. This is the nuance.
You are always, no, 1 minute. You are always brilliant. Today, for the first time, there's a logical fallacy. On the one hand, you say
no. You are on the other side for the first time.
On the one hand, you say we accept lesbians. Who are you to accept?
Listen.
Who am I to accept?
I'm not accepting, sir. I'm not accepting. You don't bring this. Who are you to accept the Constitution? Who are you to accept the Supreme Court? You cannot ask these type of damn questions.
I mean, as a lawyer,
you cannot ask this. Who are you means what? Who are you means what? I'm a citizen of this country. You call me for a debate. Have the temerity to listen to the debate. You cannot say who are you. Sorry, sir.
I live as a citizen of India.
You are by your own arguments.
You just said, why should I follow the Constitution?
Who are you? No, who are you?
I'm saying I'm a citizen of India. If the Constitution decides that, 1 minute, that's why it's being referred to a constitutional bench. Let's be logical.
No,
this matter is being
referred to a
bench because the citizens are bound by Constitution.
Sohail and MR. So MR, Venkatesh, listen to me. See, suppose there is a Muslim man. I'm just taking an example of a Muslim, just in this case, could be from any religion. Now, under the Muslim personal law, a Muslim man cannot marry a Muslim man. A Muslim man cannot marry a Hindu man. You know, a man cannot marry a man. It's not a question of religion.
It happens in the Hindu law.
1 minute. A Muslim man can marry a Hindu woman, right? You can marry under the Special Marriage Act, right? You can change your religion and marry under Muslim personal law. I'm sure there are ways. My question is this, and we can't disregard these things. I want Pramila to come in on it. If a Muslim man wants to marry another man.
No, another man means of which religion?
What do you mean? Any religion. I'm saying any religion. Sohail, 1 minute. Any religion, right? Will the Muslim man say, in this case, Muslim personal law does not apply to me, but in other aspects of my life, Muslim personal law will apply? Which is why I began by saying you want to have same-sex marriage, it's okay. But First of all, India is one of the very few countries which continues to have personal laws governing each religion. And there has not been even a basic consensus evolved on the Uniform Civil Code. Every time M.R. Venkatesh says Uniform Civil Code, the whole lobby says M.R. Venkatesh, you Hindu fanatic right-winger.
But I agree with
No, so point is, we are not, are we ready to recognize and legally protect same-sex couples without a Uniform Civil Code?
No, but 1 minute.
No,
this is... If he supports Uniform Civil Code, I totally buy into that. We cannot have one constitution with different arms protecting different communities because some person has said that. That's number one.
No, you can't. No, I'm saying, you can't put everything under the Special Marriage Act and say, let's do it under the Special Marriage Act. That is avoiding the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is the Uniform Civil Code. And this will be the basic argument, I'm sure, when it comes before the Honorable Supreme Court. Pramila Nesargi is on the debate. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a really fiery debate tonight on whether or not we should allow same-sex marriage in this country legally. And I'm not pushing this argument. The fact is, the Supreme Court of India is going to sit and discuss this a few days from now. 5-judge constitution bench. Reality in this country. And the argument tonight is on whether this kind of change can be brought in suo motu by the courts on the basis of a petition that is brought in, or does a debate on matters which are cultural and societal need to happen before that. Pramila Nesargi. Pramila.
Yeah, Arnab, I'm surprised at the discussion which is going on.
Why?
The subject is whether same-sex marriage can be allowed and whether it could be recognized. And the matter is pending before the Supreme Court. Look at the irony. We are a civilized society. We are bound by the Constitution. We are also bound by the laws framed. And all of us are bound. What is the law that is existing so far as marriages are concerned? Be it Hindu Marriage Act, Christian Act, or Mohammedan law, or for that matter, Special Marriage Act. No marriage, either in the personal law or under the existing law, this same-sex marriage is not allowed. Only a man and a woman can marry under the Act. The Act does not say a person. If the Act has used the word person, I can understand. The person word is not used. We can't invoke general process.
But Pramila, this is all outdated. Ashok Rao Kavi says this is all outdated thinking by you.
It cannot be allowed.
I mean, is this debate in 2023 or 1923?
You can go to Supreme Court. Is it a written mandate?
No, madam. Whatever you're saying.
Sohail, Ashok's taking it on. Sohail, Ashok's taking it on.
Arnab, understand what you're saying.
Arnab,
we are saying
Pramila, Sohail, 1 minute.
Madam, we understand.
Sohail, 1 minute. Let Ashok take it on, please.
Let me talk.
Yeah.
Yes, tell me.
Madam, do you know Ruth Vanita, the researcher? Listen to me, Pramila. Ruth Vanita, the researcher, has written a whole book on same-sex marriage in India. Yes, so don't say that they were not recognized, no such thing. They were recognized, they were understood by society. But the point was that there are too many laws now.
When was it recognized in India?
Under what law?
And under that,
which kingdom, which law? Could you be specific? You're saying same-sex marriage has been allowed in the past. Could you kindly educate us more on when this happened?
Right. Which is the law under which it can be recognized? It is illegal as on today. As per the existing law, it is illegal. You see, live-in relationship, no one is prohibiting. A man may be residing with another man. Nobody is preventing. A lady may be residing with another lady. Living in relationship. Even
but now, Pramila, listen.
Tell me under what law? Yes, tell me.
Pramila, we have Chaitanya and Abhishek. Now they have got married. Can I have them on the screen? I'll be off the screen for a while. We'll keep the screens. Pramila, we have these two young men, Abhishek Rai and Chaitanya Sharma, right? And you'll be happy to know that they are the first gay couple to wed in Kolkata. They have got married, Pramila. Now tell me one thing, Pramila. Are they human or not? Are they to be dehumanized?
Married under what?
You want them to have a live-in relationship?
So that I can answer. Married under what law?
Okay, one minute. Okay, Pramila, one minute. Sohail, 1 minute. Sohail, 1 minute. Sohail, 1 minute. Yeah.
Which is the law?
Abhishek Rai is responding to you. You have to have an open mind. You have to listen to him and then respond, Pramila.
Yeah,
Yes, Abhishek, go on. You're saying something.
Yes.
Well, we have gotten married socially, and we are aware of it that it's still not legal in India, and what we are looking at is a reformation of the system. Okay, like the way we have seen Sati Daha Pratha has been, it has been abolished. There are so many other societal things which were actually kind of regressive for the society have been abolished. So similarly, like an equality, the right of equality should also be given to LGBTQ people so that they can be married happily. They can adopt children, they can buy property, they can live a life like any other heterosexual couple and call themselves married. I think, that is what we all are looking for.
And
okay?
homosexuals are as normal as any heterosexual couple, right? We don't ask heterosexual couple why you just stay together, don't get married. Right? So why we are asking?
1 minute, we'll have 2 versus 2 and them in the middle. Yeah.
Arnab, allow me to answer.
Pramila, Mohan also wants to come in.
I will answer Abhishek. Is there? Yeah, let her answer. I'll
Please.
answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mohan.
But I did not ask any question, ma'am.
No,
Arnab,
I just stated
can I say something?
Yeah, Mohan, go on, Mohan, yeah.
Arnab, everything is okay except adoption, Arnab. In adoption, a third party, a young child who has no rights, who has to be taken care of, comes into a family where there are 2 people of the same gender. We don't know the
I
impact
have
on
to
the
say
child.
something here.
Let him complete. Let him complete.
That is something that we have to study. We have to think about very carefully. Because we can't put a young child who does not know his rights, who is due all the protection of society under a couple who are the same gender, because we don't know the impact on the child in later years. In the United States, the research to prove that in a family where there is no strong male, where the single person family, the children are not done very well. That is all pure data.
What?
So I think we have to think about it. It is not a simple
No,
issue.
1 minute, please. Now that's
Sorry,
our assumption.
sorry.
No, 1 minute.
Apart
Sorry,
from
there
that,
is something
everything is
here.
fine.
Okay,
Sorry,
1 minute,
I have
1 minute.
something to
Mohan,
say.
1 minute. Niharika. Pramila, wait.
It's absolutely absurd. I'm very sorry to say.
This is absurd.
Both of
and
them
insulting. The studies in the US apply to 2-person households. They do not apply to only a strong male figure.
Right.
Secondly, I have seen the data, sir. I'm sorry. And secondly, I would like to bring 2 aspects. I would like to bring 2 aspects to your attention. One being that single people in this country are allowed to adopt children.
The data is very clear.
If a happily settled couple is not allowed to adopt children, why are single people in this country allowed to adopt them? Why are single parent households continuing? Do you propose that if a parent dies, that child is to be removed from the household?
We are having a debate.
This is a shocking.
We are having a debate.
Shocking viewpoint.
It is not shocking. I think we should have a debate because involving a third party, a young child, and that is the point I've got concerned. Rest of it,
I'm sorry. What is the?
You're one of the most erudite people in this country.
I think we should always
Okay, 1 minute, Sohail. Let's go in orderly fashion, please. Niharika, see. Niharika, I'll simplify the argument. I want Abhishek and Chaitanya to come in on this, please, if you don't mind. You see, Abhishek and Chaitanya, a marriage is a union between 2 individuals and a union perhaps of their families, but it need not be a union of their families. It is a union of the 2 individual concerned. It is a union of 2 people, 2 partners in a personal relationship. So it is purely personal. Now Mohandas Pai is saying that he has no problem if you and Chaitanya Abhishek decide to stay together. He has no problem if you live like a family. He has no problem if your families get involved. He says it's totally fine, it's consensual. He is saying that if both of you were to adopt a child, and I don't know your plans, but he is saying if both of you were to adopt a child, all things are going to go haywire. And that is where he says the Lakshman Rekha is, because you're involving a third party into this.
In this at all. And yes, and I absolutely strongly oppose this, because I feel like we as 2 fathers can equally bring up a child, be equally loving, caring and responsible, which is the most important thing when you are actually bringing up a child. Okay, so there is no requirement of a father and a mother.
There's no requirement.
Fathers or two mothers
Pramila, hear that.
who are actually like...
No, one minute.
There's no requirement.
And
There's no requirement.
Other rights, like we don't have a rights for inheritance, we don't have rights for a medical part.
Arnab.
Like if anything happens to me, so Abhishek will not be able to take any decision on behalf
Arnab, we are
of
mixing up.
as a
We're
partner,
mixing the
right?
question.
Where the heterosexual
Arnab, we are mixing the
couples will
question.
have those rights.
Arnab,
No.
we are mixing up the issues.
Why am I
please.
mixing up the issue? I'm
We
asking.
don't have those
Arnab,
rights as well.
One minute.
let me explain. Arnab, let me explain.
Let's debate.
Two people of the same gender. Arnab, let me explain. If two people of the same gender get married, is fine. I'm okay with the marriage, because marriage gives you rights which you must have. But I'm not okay with adoption till we have a full debate. We should debate that. We should consider that. Protect the child's right, because it's something that we have not done in this country, and we have to be very careful when we involve a young child's right in something which you are legalizing for the first time. So I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just saying.
I
we
would
need a
say, are
further
you just,
debate.
is it, okay, sorry to provoke you there, so, but I'll say something. Are you actually basically opposed to it? You're just finding a legal excuse for it?
No, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it.
And he's agreed now.
If people want to marry and
No, but okay. Now, Pramila, I bring this down to to another issue. Pramila, see, we have two human beings sitting on the right-hand side of the screen. Let's first say they are human beings, and then don't say, oh Rahul, but there are only two human beings. Let's say that 3% of India's population, 3%, ladies and gentlemen, 3% of India's population, in a 2021 survey, identified themselves as being of a homosexual orientation. And identification would only be by maybe half the number. Maybe many would not like to identify themselves for fear of social stigma. So were we to say 5% of India's population, 5% of 1.4 billion, 1 minute, don't look so shocked, okay? That would probably say, Rahul Ishwar, that's probably, okay? Let's say 6 crore, 1 minute, 6 crore Indians, 1 minute, yaar, which means 60 million Indians. 60.
Arnabji, that's the reason why we should not have homophobia.
No,
homophobia. Discrimination. At the same point of time, marriage is a totally different dimension altogether. Like Mohandas Pai sir correctly said, there are many complexities.
But simply put, Rahul, tell me one thing. Rahul.
It's a very complex issue.
Yeah, Rahul is talking. What do you want Chaitanya and Abhishek to do? Do you want them?
I know, I wish them.
I wish them
all the best. I wish them all the best. I hope they won't face any.
You are not wishing them all the best.
They want to give it the title of marriage.
You are not wishing them. Everybody together on the screen, please. I want them in the middle. I 1 minute. We'll have Rahul on the left, Ashok on the right, and them in the middle. Is that too difficult to do? 1 second. My question here is now 1 minute. Rahul, you're not wishing them all the best. Let's be clear about it. You are saying...
No, I am wishing them all the best. Like MR sir said, the traditional Indian family is the bedrock of our civilization. See, that's a very...
You're not wishing them all the best.
That's a very sacred...
Ashok Rao ka bhi on the left, please, Ashok.
We cannot play around with that.
No, you are not wishing...
They are trying to build a family.
There should not be homophobia.
If you call a homosexual wedding not sacred,
Rahul,
not wishing us all the best.
Rahul,
we need much more discussions on the topic.
They are trying, Rahul, they are trying to build a family. The question is their relationship recognized under what law? That is what we finally want, because that gives citizenship rights. As he said, if one is sick, the other can't visit him. The pensions are not allowed if you are not this. You do not have joint mediclaim. So many things are there based on recognition of marriage. But that is not possible. So how can you say that you wish them well if you're not going to recognize the gay marriage?
As you rightly said, marriage is a different league altogether. That's the reason why there is a sanctity for marriage. There is a sacredness of our marriage. We need further discussion. It's a very complex topic.
Okay, 1 minute. Abhishek is countering. Rahul, be brief, yaar. Be brief. Rahul, be brief. Let them take you on. 1 minute. Abhishek and Chaitanya can respond now. Both of you, please. Yeah.
So, well, Rahul, if you're wishing us all the best, then at the same time you are calling a homosexual marriage not sacred, then I don't think you are wishing us all the best. To us, it is as sacred as any other heterosexual marriage. And with it being legalized, we will get entitled to a lot of things which are going to make our lives simpler for the coming days. Okay, we could buy properties together, we could have a mediclaim together, we can adopt a child, we can actually pass on our belongings to our children, to each other's families. Okay, there are a lot of things in our lives which are at a standstill because the wedding, a gay wedding or a gay marriage is not legalized yet in India. And the faster we do it, the better for the entire society. That's all I can say.
Also, I can say, like, maybe we are the privileged people where our family accepted really well. What about the people who are at village? They don't have, they are not getting courage to tell their family members because they don't know from where they will get the help. What about their rights? From where they will get the protection, right? So there are so many people who reach out to us. They always say, we feel like we feel like vandalized when we tell people about our orientation. So
Pramila, let me one second. Okay. So Abhishek, Chaitanya, are you there?
Can I answer Arnab?
Pramila, see.
I will answer Abhishek and Chaitanya.
Pramila.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Can I answer?
Yeah, go on.
Yes.
Answer.
Yeah.
Answer.
Can I answer?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, go
Can
ahead.
I answer Arnab?
Yes.
To Chaitanya?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to tell Chaitanya and Abhishek, whoever it is, I have not been able to see them. What is marriage? Marriage is a license to have sex. In your relationship, marriage is for procreation of a family. In your life, you neither have a right to have a sex, right? You have an unnatural life. Unnatural life.
Are you allowing this on national
television? Let her have a
view. You can't procreate. The third thing is adoption. You talked about adoption.
Ashok on the left.
You see, go and ask a psychiatrist, children's psychiatrist. He will tell you a child must have father's figure and mother's figure. Can you give that? By your same-sex marriage, no child can get the father's figure and the mother's figure.
We will need father figure and mother figure both at the same time, ma'am.
Pramila, listen. One sec. Chaitanya and Abhishek, you know this. I always like to pick up issues which people feel uncomfortable to talk about, which is why I'm doing this debate today. I think the people tell me, why do you debate issues like this? I do it because there is a debate. I'm not going to put my head in dig a hole in the ground and pretend these debates are not happening. Today, Supreme Court is debating this. Pramila, see, Supreme Court is debating this. Supreme Court has opened up the subject. 5-judge constitution bench. I remember, Pramila, you used to come on my debates and you used to say if same-sex relationships are allowed, not marriage, you said the country will change, we will lose our culture, we will no longer have any Bharatiyata in our country. Remember, you used to say these things. Now, homosexuality has been decriminalized, right? But has the country changed? So you have to also have an open mind. Why are you attacking these two boys?
The subject today, the matter is before the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it is before the Ashok.
What is the matter that's before the Supreme Court? Some people want the legalization of the same-sex marriage. I ask you a question.
Yes.
Under what law you can legalize? What is the law that has been invoked before the Supreme Court?
Ashok.
What is the provision?
Ashok, Soil, 1 minute. Ashok.
Pramila, that is exactly, Pramila, listen carefully. That is the reason why gay people, these two gentlemen, have gone to the Supreme Court. You say under what law? They are gone to the Supreme Court with petition saying that recognize our marriage, which we have already done, as a legitimate marriage so that we can get all the rights. Now the question afterwards of whether they can adopt and all will come later on. I do not agree with Mohandas that you require this figure, other figure and all. I have seen lot of...
Can I answer?
MR is also coming in. MR on the right.
2 men or 2 women.
Arnab,
please. So Pramila, the point is that the Supreme Court is going to determine. We'll talk about it.
You can make a law with 250, 260 MPs in the Lok Sabha and 100 odd MPs in the Rajya Sabha. But the question is, law is codified common sense. Are you going to say that marriage between 2 people is marriage it is for just the parliament to decide. No, it requires larger debate among the society. And in my view, personal view, is that marriage means marriage of opposite sexes, and it cannot be of the same sex. It can be anything. It can be reverentially.
Granting fundamental rights is not an issue of societal
held
referendum.
your fundamental rights, ma'am. Held your fundamental rights because civilization
see,
far
this is-
above.
Okay, Niharika is responding to you. Emma has opened up again.
Fundamental rights.
Boom, the debate goes.
Fundamental rights,
9:49.
don't talk to me.
She's
Fundamental
responding
right
to
in a
you.
Civilization state.
Emma,
Sir,
she's
civilization
responding to you.
state is-
Emma, she's
Yes,
taking you
she
head
is.
on.
Now see, Arnab,
saying
if
also,
someone has no basic respect for the rights of this country and the constitution of this country, then they cannot be expected to be a part of a discussion like this, because it is clear that it has nothing to do with the rights of this country.
Why do you discuss when you don't want to hear me? When you don't want to hear me, why the hell you want to discuss?
So when you say hell with fundamental rights, I do not wish to hear
I'm
any
saying
further.
hell with fundamental rights. I'm talking something more fundamental because this is about the civilizational rights. What about my civilizational rights? Tell me this. We are not an atomized society like America or Sweden. We are having...
This has nothing to do with Western society. I'm sorry, this becomes like a talking point. Oh, they want to end the West. This has nothing to do with Western
He says
society.
he says here, he takes the debate. 1 minute, just one minute. I go back to Mohan and I bring in Mohan. There's a fascinating debate. He says you have human rights. He says, Mohan, I have civilizational rights. If changes in the law are going to have a negative impact on my understanding of my civilization, then I expect the law to protect my civilization. So he's presenting what he thinks is a fairly rational argument to the contrary. I want Mohan to come in on this. He's raised the issue of civilizational rights. First Mohan, then Sohail. Mohan, then Sohail. Mohan, then Sohail. Yeah.
Arnab, MR has some concern which need to be addressed. Because the great majority of people in this country have the concern, we have to debate it. We can't thrust it down somebody's throat. Now, when I see the lawyer arguing about fundamental rights, where was the concern when Muslim women don't have equal rights to men? 8% of a population don't have equal rights despite 75 years of freedom and about 72 years of the Constitution. Then where is the equal right for child marriage? Why are we allowing child marriage in this country
about this
when we don't have equal rights?
They're
we must have concern for fundamental rights.
But Niharika, his point is fairly interesting. His point is fairly interesting. You can't disregard his point at the same time.
And also then the question of
what Mohan is saying, Sohail, he's saying...
against it, we need to debate it.
No, if Mohan is saying that if there are aspects of the Muslim personal law which are against the equal rights to women, one minute. Then why don't we deal with those issues first? It's like saying, why are we trying to go from first gear to fourth gear without going through second gear? Why don't we make the basic changes to bring in gender justice in our country first?
I don't believe it is.
So let me address this without any interruption. Number one, MR made a point that, look, I as MR Venkatesh have the right to guard my civilization legacy. Accepted. But there are also other Indians, MR, who believe their interpretation of our civilization legacy means evolution. They should be allowed that. Number two, Niharika Karanjewala Mishra rightly said that fundamental rights are guaranteed by the Constitution. You, MR, as a legal luminary, know that we all function both as citizens and within the domains of the law, within the constitutional shrines. I didn't interrupt you, let me finish. I didn't interrupt you, let me finish. I did not interrupt you, let me finish.
MR, calm down.
Mohandas Pai says Muslims, and he talks about the Muslim woman, he talks about personal law. I totally agree. Two wrongs don't make a right, but don't throw the baby with the bathwater. Today, we are talking about a seminal change in both the societal evolution of this country and in the legal maturity of this country. In the absolute deliverance of the Constitution.
Closing in.
Do we want to actually live in the past?
Closing in 10 seconds. Closure. Rahul Ishwar, 10 seconds only.
Chetan and Abhishek, if any of our comments have crossed the line, I would like to apologize because I understand some comments were out of the box and I am really sorry that such comments were aired. But at the same point of time, please understand there is a huge majority who are having respectful apprehensions, respectful divergence of opinion with you. We may need much more engagement.
I think this, okay, so I think we are all agreed this matter needs a fair amount of discussion.
Understand that.
In the courts and also deeply all sides outside the courts. On the other side, viewers tonight, this has been a fascinating debate. We'll take it forward. On the other side tonight, you can't believe the Vadra model of corruption, ladies and gentlemen. Selling paintings and taking favors now documented internationally. What an absolute embarrassment. And why I think it's really pathetic for the Congress party to have to clean up after every time Rahul Gandhi says something which makes, as usual, no sense. In a few minutes.